Hello and welcome to everyone from around the world. Welcome to E2 Digitally. This is the first time that we're doing it. I couldn't be more excited to be part of this. I cannot believe from all over the world how everyone participates. All of you educators that take time out, dedication out to come to E2, and I'm so thankful to be part of it today. Thank you and welcome. The session that you're doing today is Tech for Good with We Schools. My name is Bushra Ulhaq. I am an educator like most of you. I taught grade 4 and grade 1 for a bit. Now I've been in program design, working with Fair Chance Learning and working with We to bring you this session. So we're really excited. We're actually going to dive into what We Schools is, what is service learning, and why we have partnered with Microsoft for Tech for Good, which I hope you've heard of because you did the Tech for Good challenge. But if not, that's okay. We want to teach you today what service learning is and why we think it's so important to bring into the classroom with technology in the world that we're all facing. So come on through and we're going to go through the journey. So it's been a very unique year. I think we can all admit that it has been a year that we weren't expecting. I'm talking about not the fiscal year of 2021 that just started, but moreover the last 1 year of a pandemic that we've all been in. But we've never faced a school year like this, and I could not be more proud or more honored to be among educators like yourself that have gone above and beyond to support your students in a year like this. The challenges that teachers have faced, the challenges as students, the communities, the world has faced have never been seen before. So, we really want to, as a program, adapt to that as well and be responsive to our teachers to ensure that you have the right tools that are set up to bring service learning into the classroom, but to support your students in understanding and navigating a time like this. So, whether you're doing teaching in person, you're doing virtual teaching, you're doing hybrid teaching, blended teaching, remote teaching, there's so many words, so many strategies out there, but we want to really help you look at what's right for you and how can we be here to support you to make service learning happen in a safe, responsible, and meaningful way. So what's our mission and vision? What is We Schools all about? What is the entire, reason we do things? It's to make service learning accessible. We'll dive into what service learning is and what it looks like in different classrooms. But, we're rooted in social and emotional learning and positive youth development. Our program offers support to teachers and empowers young people to be their strongest selves, gaining the critical skills to be future ready and compassionate citizens. In a world of today where we are all disconnected but connected in every way possible that we can be, it's really important for us to build a program where students can connect, understand, and see the world around them and see their impact in the world. I think that's really critical for what we do, is that we want students to see ownership and accountability in their actions and the fact that they can be responsible and can change the world. That's what our mission and vision is. So as being part of We Schools, which is in the middle bucket you'll see, you actually also have part of a lot of different resources and tools. So today I want to go through a couple of different things that you have the opportunity to access and that we think is important for students, for teachers, and for us to support them. So we'll go through We Teachers, We Wellbeing, and then We Schools, which is our parent of like what we can do for everyone. So in We Teachers, it's actually a no-cost program. That's all part of it, where we provide teachers with free resources and training to support them in addressing critical social issues with their class. As part of this program, teachers become a part of a powerful network working towards excellence in education and enriching student lives. What's really important about We Teachers here is that we're really looking at trauma-informed practice. That's important for us to bring into the classroom. So what we had heard from a lot of our educators around the world was there's many traumas that our students are going through. The pandemic, first of all, mental health, mental well-being, if we're looking at suicide and depression, bullying, if we're looking at racism. How do we equip our teachers to be ready to support our students in these crises? So that's where the We Teachers program was born out of, is that how can we build resources and modules and activities for teachers to talk about these critical social issues in their classroom. As part of We Wellbeing program, you actually are part of a proactive approach built on evidence-based prevention and promotion strategies. It's designed to build a foundation of awareness, understanding, and taking action. It empowers youth and educators and families with tools and resources to promote their own well-being and the well-being of their community. The We Wellbeing program is really focusing on how can we promote and understand the well-being of our students and ourselves in order for them to be preventative measures of actions that might happen. We're really looking at promoting that positive, inclusive, safe, and caring environment, which is the foundation of any classroom, reducing stigma and celebrating diversity. We're looking at increasing social, emotional, physical, and mental well-being. That's what you have resources, access to resources in We Wellbeing. Now, We Schools, which is where we're going to spend most of our time today, is looking at We Schools, which is a free service learning program that empowers teachers and youth with resources and tools to bring positive change in themselves and the world. As I said, We Schools is looking at building those students that care about the community, but we'll dive more into it. As I was saying, so with We Schools, what we really looked at is what I think is key as a global community that we have tuning in today, is that students are always thinking with a local and global perspective to all of our causes. When we heard a lot from our teachers, we learned that there's social issues and causes that they care about, and how can we make sure that we are customizing our programming through that. So in We Schools, you'll actually find resources on 5 main themes: education, social vulnerability, equity and human rights, environment, and health and well-being. So we've taken all of those resources that I was even mentioning about We Wellbeing, and we've placed them into these buckets. It doesn't matter when you do them. We focus on them in different times to make sure that we are giving each one due attention, but you can do them whenever it's accessible for you and what is more important to you. But what's important for us is for you to have easy access to resources and to know what you need. So if you're looking for those resources on social vulnerability, you're going to find everything together: hunger, homelessness, poverty, violence. If you're looking for environment, you're going to find climate change, food security, sustainability, circular economy. If you're looking for education, how can we talk about literacy and STEM and financial literacy? So we've really taken all of the resources that we've built over the years, the 20+ years that we have been about service learning, and taken them, updated them, make sure that they're relevant and they're responsive, and then we've put them into buckets for you to access. Service learning now, if we're really talking about what is service learning and what's the entire definition that we're going to discuss today, is that service learning is a learning approach in which students explore problems in their school or community, develop plans to solve them, and take action. Service learning can help young people find purpose. Service learning, in the best and beautiful way that I can say it, is bringing the community into the classroom and the classroom into the community. We're really looking for students to not just take action, but understand the action. A lot of people will think that service is the same concept, but it's actually not, because if you go and volunteer at the food bank, do your students know why there's a food security shortage? Or do your students understand where the food is coming from and who it's going to? It's the why that matters more than the action in service learning. It's the intention more than the conclusion. That's what we look at in service learning. And that's why it's impactful, and it can give purpose and meaning to many students, because they see, okay, well, I could do X, but why did I do it? And when we connect those together, it's when it makes the impact. The purpose is that it's a core component of psychological well-being. It's part of one's search for meaning. It involves a desire to contribute to the world in a way that is larger than oneself. In service learning, we look at 4 steps to doing the program. We always, first and foremost, and most importantly, we make sure students investigate and learn about the issues. That's the why that I was talking about. Then they can move on to action planning, taking action, and celebrating their action. But most importantly, through service learning, is that you have to reflect. You have to understand. You have to dive deep inside and outside to understand the issue. Now, when we're looking at experiential service learning, which is the experience of service learning, why is it effective in developing global citizenship and personal understanding? It's like I said, it's giving those learning opportunities outside the classroom to include the community-based and humanitarian initiatives, scientific and artistic activities, as well as cross-cultural and international experiences that brings it all together for students. It's helping students to build attitudes and confidence through doing purposeful things and make a difference in the world. Learning is a process whereby knowledge is created through the transformation of experience. We want students to not just be the outside perimeter, we want them to be in the learning, we want them to experience the learning. That's why service learning is impactful, because it makes students, even with curriculum and content, right? It's like taking calculus and giving it meaning. So let students really impact what they're doing in order for them to feel the experience of it. Many of you might ask, why service learning? It's for students to see themselves as empowered change makers in the world. They need experiences that respond to their interests, are both relevant and timely, spark and nurture curiosity. They lead to tangible and timely results. They set them up for success and allow for learning through challenges and obstacles. And they connect to the knowledge, skills, and attitudes being taught in the classroom. Service learning works because it is something that they can touch, that they can do, that they can see. Now, I wanted to focus a bit on the outcomes of service learning so that you can understand why it's important. It's because, so through our programming and through us doing years of extensive research and reporting and looking at how it impacts students, service learning is known to have academic achievement, workplace readiness, civic engagement, and improved well-being. Now, I'm going to share with you one of my most favorite quotes about service learning that really encompasses it, in my opinion, is, "Tell me and I forget. Teach me and I may remember. Involve me and I learn." So are we involving our students in the teaching? Are we involving our students in the learning? Are we letting them be part of it? So what's the theory of change? What does it actually, what does the build out look like? When you remove barriers to youth success, when you educate and empower youth, you transform youth and communities to bring a societal change for everyone. So service learning isn't just looking at the individual or the school or the class, it's looking at the entire community and the society as a whole. That are we building those better agents of change for students? Are we giving them that power to be in control of their change? A lot of the work that you'll see coming up as well is built on a learning framework, so which is really looking at the educational foundation for every resource we provide, including our lesson plans, the tech for good that you'll go through. It's looking at this learning framework, which is actually built on our 4 outcomes, so increasing academic engagement, active citizenship, well-being, and workplace readiness. So how are those 4 outcomes come to is that's how we all look at our programming. Now, what's really important is building skills in our students. So when you'll see the inner circle, all the green is these skills that we look at: argument formation, organization, critical thinking, research and writing, information literacy, social and emotional learning. So we bring all of that together and make sure all of our resources, our lesson plans, our actions, our action campaigns are being impacted by these skills and these outcomes. So I'll do the last little bit of, why service learning, what does it benefit? So the benefits of service learning and how it benefits and impacts social and emotional learning are really important to all of us here because we want the well-being of our students. Service learning benefits the attitudes towards self, the social skills, attitudes towards school and learning, civic engagement, academic performance. While impacting social and emotional learning we're looking at increasing in optimism, confidence, empathy, and independence, bringing positive social behaviors between family and peers, decreased emotional distress and anxiety, improved test scores, grades, and attendance. So when we bring that all together, that's what service learning is looking to do. So thank you for listening to the service learning bit. Now what I want to really focus on is why technology? Why am I talking about tech for good? What is that concept, right? So you really want the connection. So as countries redesign education systems for the 21st century, how will the role of teachers change? What skills and attitudes will they need? What values will the next generation of teachers bring? And how can teachers best equip students to thrive in the wider world? Today, everything is online. Today, everything is on your fingertips. We can't tell students not to be on the computer. We can't tell them that technology isn't part of the classroom. You, of all the educators that are joining me at a Microsoft E2 conference, know best that technology is part of the classroom. So how can we look at technology for good? So how will new teachers change the profession by 2030? There's 60% increase of technology. There's going to be a 48% increased focus on social and emotional learning. and a 47% increase of devoting more teaching time to global issues like climate change. That's because you are all the change makers that are impacting the classroom. So what attracts the next generation to teaching, right? A lot of you have joined because 54% enjoy working with children, but 46% want to make an impact on future generations, and 37% make a contribution to society. Now, are all of these numbers sounding a lot like the service learning that we were talking about, right? You think about the other. A lot of you are thinking about how to make a larger, wider impact. So 8 out of 10 think a good teacher can lift a student by at least 1 grade. When we're looking at technology in the classroom, 38% feel that their teaching training has equipped them to use digital technology for instruction. You know, that's a low number. We want more teachers to be ready to use technology in the classroom. So at a larger thing, there's many perceived benefits of technology in the classroom, right? The top 3, 36% are more engaging learning experiences are built. 31% enable self-directed learning, which is everything right now. How many of you are doing blended learning where students are doing, a large number of hours on their own and then coming to you, because we're not in person teaching right now. So that's where we have to use technology to have self-directed learning. 30% think it prepares students for tech-centric labor market, which is a huge increase, right? Now, there's many barriers to achieving positive education outcomes using tech, right? We want to look at 36% might have a lack of sufficient technology tools. There might be inadequate tech training, but what we really want to focus on is how can we be all together to look at the concerns, the barriers that we have, but then bring the benefits and the impact of technology to our students. So what kind of action can you take with technology? And why is it important, right? So now we have the service learning, why that's important. We've learned the impact of service learning. We have learned that technology is not going anywhere. We have learned that technology is in our classrooms, is with our students, is impacting education. So how can we bring those two concepts of service learning, technology together to make an impact? That is where the Tech for Good program comes in. That is where we schools partnered with Microsoft to bring this program that signifies innovative application of technology to real-world issues. This technology-powered program engages students and educators to incorporate technology into their service learning actions, enhancing their experience and bringing valuable 21st century digital skills into their service learning, thanks to the support of Microsoft. What's really important here is that, like I said, I think a lot of the times we're looking at technology and saying, well, it's a distraction, or there's too much screen time. But if it's being brought in, we need to look at it in a socially conscious way. How can we use technology for good, for students to make an impact, so that they can see that, okay, well, instead of just maybe playing a video game, how can I do something that's going to impact my peers, my community, my school, and make a difference? The benefits for using technology for good is from classroom to career. Tech for Good equips students with the digital, emotional, collaborative, and cognitive skills needed to be future ready. There's a Tech for Good badge in this program where students are able to display their accomplishments, where students can show their credentials, where students can be part of a like-minded community that cares and motivates each other to make a bigger difference. For educators through Tech for Good, educators can enhance their lessons with technology and empower their students to do incredible things, all while equipping them with the skills needed to be future ready. We want students to rethink traditional methods and apply innovative technologies. We want teachers to recognize and reward students for acquiring important skills in a new way. We want teachers to incorporate the International Society for Technology Education, ISTE, standards into our education, because we want to see that global change happening for our students. ISTE is a standard framework for innovation in education. These standards help educators and education leaders worldwide prepare learners to thrive in work and life. The ISTE standards, some of them: digital citizens, knowledge constructors, innovative designers, global collaborators, empowered learners. I hope you're picking up a theme throughout this presentation that with service learning, technology, ISTE, Tech for Good, we're really looking to impact that student journey and make them empowered learners, make them knowledge constructors, give them computational thinking skills so that they can be better communicators. It all goes together. So what you have access to in Tech for Good is you have access to this amazing program guide. The link is on the screen. It'll also be given to you, but this program guide that equips you to see the ISTE standards, that gives you ideas to use technology in the classroom through service learning and gives you different technologies that you can use. So we've really packaged it all together for you, is that we've said, what's an issue that your students care about? How can you use technology for that issue? How can that issue be targeting one of the ISTE standards or an SDG or something globally? And then if you need examples of technologies like Flipgrid or Minecraft, how can you incorporate those into it? So really the idea is for your students to find something that they're passionate to change. Maybe it's the school garden, that we want to plant vegetables in our school garden. Maybe it's a larger issue that kids around the world don't have access to education, and how can your students impact and learn about that? Maybe what they want to do is little actions to big actions, but the point is for students to pick an issue that they care about, use technology in a meaningful way to impact that issue. So now I'm going to end a bit because I'm getting short on time, but we want to really look at what does action look like, and give you examples. So in Tech for Good, what you'll see is, for example, students will be participating in creating. So what's key here is that students are creating something that they care about, that they saw that the world needed. In a pandemic time when everyone around them was wearing masks and face shields, we had students start to create reusable face shields using 3D printing technology. That is using technology for good. When you have a 3D printer, students could be creating games or toys by using something for the communities. They saw a need, they saw a problem, and they went and solved it by using the tools around them. That's a great example. Another example that we can look at is from We Are One, which is an action campaign, which is a simple action. What these students did is that they went and they looked at virtually, they were meeting with their community members because you can't meet them in person right now maybe, but with disabilities, to determine accessibility barriers within their community. They're doing an environmental scan at their community and looking at it and being like, what are the barriers for my fellow peers, my fellow friends, my fellow community members? And then they went and educated the rest of the community via social media. So using technology for advocacy, for their rights, for their voice, for their behavior change in community, to care about what's going around the world. So these are just some examples of how your students can use everyday technology in a meaningful, impactful way. We have the Tech for Good challenge happening for E2 this year, and there's so many entries coming in of students and educators talking about using technology in big to small ways. They wanted their students to learn about the homelessness population that's in their local community. They wanted students to use technology to raise awareness about food shortage that's happening in their community. We had other entries that wanted students to just use technology to learn the impact of it on others. So there's so many ways, so many ideas that you could incorporate service learning with technology together and just have an impact for your students, for them to learn that, the phone that they're on all the time can make a bigger difference than just messaging or playing games. And that's what we want students to start to create and to use technology for their voice and as empowerment. What's the next step for you? So we're at time. We want to make sure in this session that you know exactly what to do next. You've learned about service learning, you've learned about technology, and you've learned about how to use them together to make an impact. We want you to visit we.org/tech4good to get started on your service learning journey today. And you can sign up for the We Virtual Learning Center there, which will give you access to all of the resources I talked about today. The well-being, promotion, prevention resources, the trauma-informed practice resources, the resources in education, social vulnerability, equity, everything I talked about, that's where you get access to it. So that's your next step. Go on, get the Tech for Good guide, start looking at technology in a new way, incorporate, and which I don't think is difficult for any of you out there because all of you are tech experts as part of the Microsoft community. So thank you for watching today. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being part of E2 digitally. I hope next year, maybe in a year or two, we can all be together somewhere. I would love that. But for now, meeting digitally, meeting virtually, being together and still making a difference is the most important thing in the world of today. Thank you very much. That's bye. I feel like I said bye to you too quickly. I needed you to earn your recognition on MEC for today's session. So log on to education.microsoft.com, click your profile circle in the upper right corner, and select Redeem Achievement Code. That's the achievement code right on the screen for you. So make sure you put that code in so you can get your recognition right away. That's how you earn it. So you can find the session on your transcript by clicking My Profile and then clicking on View Transcript in the upper right corner. It will say Custom Training. If you aren't an MIE yet, once you've joined us for 2 hours of content and redeemed the associated codes, you will earn your Microsoft Innovative Educator Badge. So that's it. Thank you so much for attending. We hope you learned something. We hope you enjoyed, and we hope that you're able to bring in service learning into your classroom. Have a good day.